Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are doing the neuroanatomy lectures. We have already covered the spinal cord, medulla oblongata, pons. Those who have not seen the previous videos, you go through that, then you will understand this topic, fourth ventricle. So this fourth ventricle is an important essay in the neuroanatomy questions. So we will cover the entire fourth ventricle in this video. Those who have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now, keep watching the videos. In this neuroanatomy lectures, we have added the pre-test questions in the middle and in the post-test questions. If you answer those questions and assess yourself, then you will be understand how much you are understanding in the subject. So do assess yourself and keep watching the videos continuously till the last. We will move on to the topic fourth ventricle. So before we move on to the topic fourth ventricle, you should know the pre-test questions. They are the how many ventricles are there in the brain and where is fourth ventricle situated. So if you know this, at least how many ventricles are there in the brain and where they are situated and where is the fourth ventricle situated, then it will be easy to understand this topic, fourth ventricle. What is fourth ventricle? It is the cavity of primitive hindbrain. So in the embryology, we have the forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain vesicle development, and this fourth ventricle represents the cavity present in the hindbrain vesicle. Situation intervenes between the cerebellum dorsally and pons and cephalic part of the medulla oblongata ventrally. So that is the situation. Here you can see the fourth ventricle diagram, fourth ventricle situation also you can see, which is given in the violet color. So you can see here this is the fourth ventricle. So it is between the cerebellum dorsally and pons and open part of medulla. This is the open part of medulla ventrally. So this is the fourth ventricle. The fourth ventricle has four angles: rostral, caudal and two lateral angles. So there are four angles in the fourth ventricle and two lateral limits, two lateral boundaries: roof, otherwise called as dorsal wall; floor, and otherwise called as ventral wall. So upper angle will be continuous with, the cavity of the midbrain, that is the aqueduct of Sylvius. Lower angle will be continuous with the cavity of the spinal cord, lower part of the medulla oblongata and the spinal cord, that is the central canal. Each lateral angle projects outwards and has an opening that is called as the foramen of Luschka, from where CSF will be discharged into the pontine system. So CSF is secreted in the fourth ventricles. The CSF will reach the subarachnoid space also. This subarachnoid space also contains the CSF. From the subarachnoid space, from the superior sagittal sinus, it will be reaching the venous blood. So that's how the CSF formation and then the drainage of the CSF formed in the ventricles. Then it is discharged into the superior sagittal sinus and into the venous blood. So how it is entering the systems, how it is entering the subarachnoid space, one way is through this foramen of Luschka. So one question for you, where does foramen of Luschka open? Just now we have seen. So you have to answer. Then if you are watching the and understanding the video completely, you should be able to answer the question, where does foramen of Luschka open? So you should know what is cistern and into which cistern it opens. So this is the fourth ventricle diagram. Lateral limits or boundaries we will see. In the lower part, gracile and cuneate tubercles and diverging inferior cerebellar peduncle. So this is the lower lateral boundary. So this is gracile tubercle, this is cuneate tubercle, and this is the inferior cerebellar peduncle. So this will be the inferior cerebellar peduncle. In the upper part, this is the cut end of the superior cerebellar peduncle. So they will form the upper lateral boundaries. Roof or dorsal wall. The roof, before we see the roof contains projections into the cerebellum that will be called as median and two lateral recesses. So which we will be calling, we will be having many recesses in the fourth ventricle. In this, three recesses are present in the roof or dorsal wall which extend into the cerebellum. So they are called as the median and two lateral recesses. First we will see the roof recesses, then we will see the other recesses. So that these recesses divide the roof into upper and lower sloping parts. So these are the three recesses present in the roof of the fourth ventricle. One median and two lateral recesses. Other recesses we will see in the last. So before we move on to the roof, we will have one question for you. What are the lateral boundaries of fourth ventricle? Still now we have seen angles, lateral boundaries. Now we are doing the roof. So you answer this question. What are the lateral boundaries of the fourth ventricle? We will continue with the roof or dorsal wall. So the roof or dorsal wall will have the two parts, upper part and the lower part. Upper part of the roof we saw that is on the lateral side, lateral upper part contains the superior cerebellar peduncles. So in between the superior cerebellar peduncle we have here, we will color it with the other color. So we will have a roof over the superior cerebellar peduncles, so that it will be called as superior medullary velum. So this is the superior medullary velum. It is formed by the neural tissue, nervous tissue. Lower part of the roof is non-nervous, formed by only ependyma and pial membrane. We will see the diagram, then you will understand how this roof or dorsal wall is formed. Upper part is formed by the superior medullary velum and lower part is only by the ependyma and pial membrane. So this is what we are telling. These are the two superior cerebellar peduncles. So in between these peduncles we have the upper membrane, that is the superior medullary velum, and in the lower part it is non-nervous, formed by the ependyma and the pial membrane. In the lower roof we have one more foramen of Lusch-Magendie. Foramen of Luschka is present in the lateral angle. Foramen of Magendie is present in the lower part of the roof, through which again CSF escapes into the cisterns and the subarachnoid space. Now we will see the floor or ventral wall. It's also known as rhomboid fossa. So this rhomboid fossa will be asked separately as essay for you. So if a rhomboid fossa is asked, you have to write the floor of fourth ventricle. Why it is called rhomboid fossa? Because of its shape. How it is formed? Formed by the dorsal surfaces of the pons and the upper open part of the medulla, both dorsal surfaces. How will we know what is pontomedullary junction? That is marked by the stria medullaris, which is derived from the arcuate nuclei. So we have completed how the rhomboid fossa is formed. Why it is called as rhomboid fossa we have covered. We will see the details of the rhomboid fossa continuously. So this is the rhomboid fossa we have learned already. If you have seen our video containing the medulla oblongata and pons, you should have understood. I have already covered this dorsal surface of the open part of the medulla. This is the dorsal surface and this is the dorsal surface of the pons we have covered. So this will be called as rhomboid fossa because it is rhomboid in shape. So divided into two symmetrical halves by the median sulcus, Each half will be divided by the sulcus limitans into a medial eminence and a lateral vestibular area. The widest intermediate part of the floor in the sulcus limitan, a surface depression, is called superior fovea. So you have a question for you. We are doing the floor of fourth ventricle. We have a question for you in the roof of fourth ventricle. What is the upper roof of fourth ventricle? So answer this question. Are you answering? Okay. Then we will move on to the remaining floor of fourth ventricle. We are doing the floor of fourth ventricle. We will now continue it. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the rhomboid fossa. This is upper lateral boundaries, lower lateral boundaries. Now it is divided into two symmetrical halves. This is the stria medullaris. Each half is again divided into two parts. Medial part, this is the medial part, and this is the lateral part. This lateral part all have the vestibular nucleus, so it will be called as the vestibular area. This two lateral part will be called as vestibular area. This medial part will be called as medial eminence. So this will contain the facial colliculus in the upper part, and it will contain the hypoglossal triangle and dorsal vagal triangle in the lower part. We will see in the next picture. At the level of superior fovea, the medial eminence has the elevation that is called as facial colliculus. How it is formed? Which nucleus is underneath the facial colliculus? We have seen in the open part of the medulla oblongata, abducens nucleus will be present, and this facial nerve will have the coursing over the abducens nucleus, and it will be called as the internal genu. Traced rostrally, the sulcus limitans flattens to the bluish grey area. If you have the floor of the fourth ventricle in your hand, if you just scratch this over, then you will be seeing the bluish color, that is the locus coeruleus. So what does this locus coeruleus contain, and what is its function? If you know, the neurons of locus coeruleus are rich in noradrenaline. What is that function they are telling is this part is of more concern in the causing of paradoxical sleep. So this part is important for this phenomenon, paradoxical sleep in the humans. If you trace the sulcus limitans caudally, another depression that is called inferior fovea, same as superior fovea in the upper part. So we have to know these two fovea. So superior fovea is present in the dorsal surface of the pons, and inferior fovea is present in the dorsal surface of the medulla oblongata. Opposite the inferior fovea, this triangle elevation in the medial part will be called as hypoglossal triangle. This hypoglossal triangle contains hypoglossal nucleus medially and nucleus intercalatus laterally. So you should know what is nucleus intercalatus also. If you know the hypoglossal nucleus, adjacent to it, what is this nucleus intercalatus? So you have a question for you. How is facial colliculus formed? What nucleus and what nerve is present in the facial colliculus? So now we will see the features of open part of medulla, supromedial zone. So we are seeing only the floor of fourth ventricle. We will continue. Yes, we have this already. We know the pontomedullary junction is represented by the stria medullaris. You can see this is the stria medullaris, and it is now divided into two halves by this median sulcus, and again this each half will be divided into two halves by the sulcus limitans. So this is the triangle? This is the hypoglossal triangle. And what is this triangle? Vagal triangle. This is the vagal triangle, and this is the inferior fovea, and this is the vestibular area. Rest of the floor, lateral area, both in the upper part and in the lower part, they are elevated to form the vestibular area, which contains four groups of vestibular nuclei. Below the inferior fovea and intervening between the hypoglossal triangle and the vestibular area, we have the vagal triangle which contains the dorsal nucleus of vagus nerve. Just below that vagal triangle, we have the tongue-shaped infralateral area, the area postrema, that is closely related to the vomiting and respiratory centers. Because this floor of fourth ventricle may be asked as separate essay for you, I am covering in very detail rhomboid fossa. Then in this place funicular separations, there is an ependymal thickening that is separating the vagal triangle and the area postrema. If you see the lowest most part of the floor like this, it resembles the pointed nib of a writing pen. So that prompted some authors to name it very interestingly as Calamus scriptorius. Do you agree? It is looking like a pointed nib of a writing pen. So we have covered now the floor of the fourth ventricle in detail. We started with the angles, then the lateral boundaries, then the roof, then the floor of fourth ventricle. So the last part of the fourth ventricle, we have 6 recesses present in the fourth ventricle, 3 in the dorsal wall, median dorsal recess above the nodule and 2 lateral dorsal recesses above the inferior medullary vela, 2 lateral recesses and a recess behind the obex. So that is how we have the 3 recesses in roof, 2 lateral recesses and 1 ventral and 1 recess behind the obex. So we have the post-test question for you. What is rhomboid fossa? How it is formed? What is Calamus scriptorius? Or how many recesses are present in fourth ventricle? What is vagal trigone or triangle? Where it is present? Where is superior medullary velum situated? So this, if you answer these minute details of fourth ventricle, then you have followed the lecture carefully and your knowledge in fourth ventricle is very great. So if this, when I go to the summary of fourth ventricle, I will tell this fourth ventricle is a very short essay for you. If it is asked in neuroanatomy question, your question paper is, we have to consider that as easy question because so many questions are difficult in neuroanatomy compared to the fourth ventricle. We have many questions like sections of the midbrain, medulla oblongata, pons, blood supply of the brain, sulci and gyri of the cerebrum and functional areas. So internal capsule, lateral ventricles. Compared to this, fourth ventricle is an easy essay for you. So you learn thoroughly the fourth ventricle for the exam and you prepare yourself thoroughly. And we will continue with the one more neuroanatomy topic in the next lecture. Those who are not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now. Keep watching the videos. Thank you.